I asked in my community post if you guys wanted me to talk about my characters, and a lot of you said yes. I should have probably gotten a screenshot, but as you will soon see throughout this video, I am an extremely lazy person. Nonetheless, I asked this question knowing damn well that I only have one original character that I can actually speak about. Yes, I have a lot more in my toy house, but most of them are designed by someone else, are ripoffs of other characters, or are discontinued. Knowing this, I knew that this would be extremely short if I only talked about my singular OC. So instead, I want to make this a bit different. I want to talk about my OC as well as two of my Sonas. I have minimal lore with all of these, so I will also be including why I made them the way they are and the sources of inspiration I took to include into their own characteristics, as well as how these inspirations are applied to characters who I have different forms of connection to. Maybe the way I talk about their purposes, designs, and changes can help someone else who also really struggles with characters like I do. Also, this video is mostly unscripted. I have bullet points, but I don't have a script, as this is just me yapping about my characters, and I don't really think I need a script for that, hopefully. Anywho, like previously stated, I'll be talking about my Sonas, Miles and Mortis, which are the ones you guys are somewhat familiar with, as well as one of my OC whom I love very much despite me not drawing him very often. Also, since I keep getting asked this, you guys are free to take inspiration from my characters, from my story, from my colors, from anything I make. I don't really care, I don't really mind. So you guys are free to do whatever you want, as long as if it's like heavy inspiration, like obviously like give credit. But other than that, you're chilling, bro. Don't worry about it. Y'all can copy off of me. It's fine. I want to talk about my persona first. For all of you who are unaware, a persona is a character an artist makes that represents them and helps them by showing how they want to be perceived in online spaces. A persona can also help audiences interpret an artist's art. A persona doesn't have to match the way the artist looks, dresses, or even acts. They can go anywhere from being a regular human to being an animal to being an eldritch being. Personas have no limits in their design capabilities, which I think is also the reason that makes them extremely cool. The thing that makes a persona is that it's supposed to represent the artist, and the creator has an extremely close connection to them. There are multiple videos on YouTube that go more into depth about how to make a persona and like goes closer into depth about like the real definition, but that's the definition I'm using for this video. If you like want to learn how to make a persona, this is not the video for you. You might as well go watch another one. Side note, it's gonna be so weird talking about myself in the third person, but I guess I'll just thug it out. I have had a lot of personas throughout the years, most of them being non human or being ones that looked very different from me, and I never really connected to them. So I ended up making my most recent persona a persona that was very close to how I present myself in real life, not only physically, but also when it comes to personality. I think the reason as to why I changed a lot in my personas is because most of them were made during a time of me being unsure of who I actually was and what I actually liked. I think it's completely okay to change your persona as much as you want. People grow and their interests and mindsets change. So if you are to change your persona 3 years from now, that's okay. If you're to change your persona 30 minutes from now, that's also okay. I do realize that having a set persona is very important when building a brand or whatever, but you shouldn't limit yourself to boxes because it can be very limiting and exhausting in your creative process in the long run. Anyways, the first official appearance of this specific Sona was on February 25th, 2024. I had recently turned 17 at the time. I think I was 3 months into being 17. This has been the Sona that has stuck with me the longest. And I think it's mostly because they were made during a time that I was finally starting to become confident in who I was. Yes, he has gone through changes, but the overall design has stayed relatively the same compared to my past Sonos. Most of these changes are minor and are representative of just me growing older as a person. The two things that have stayed consistent throughout and which I believe are the most unique, quote unquote, or recognizable, quote unquote, parts about his design are the red M and the scars on his hands. These characteristics also happen to be the most personal parts of his design, which I guess is the reason why I haven't removed them despite all of his changes. Ironically enough, the M was added accidentally for recognizability purposes. It wasn't intentional, but it worked so well that I just decided to keep it. I was doodling my friend's Sonas with mine, and mine just kind of looked like a guy. There was no defining characteristics about him whatsoever, and I felt left out because all of my friends' Sonas are very cool and they all have their different and own silhouettes. But I guess that also just has to do with the fact that most of theirs aren't human. But I wasn't comfortable with drawing non-humans, so mine just looked like a guy. But yeah, I was doodling them and I was like, damn, they're really not gonna know who the hell this guy is. So I got a red pen and I just scribbled a big M on his head to signify that it was my soda. My friends really ended up liking it. Well, not the doodle, but the official design. I lost the doodle. They ended up really liking the M. So I just decided to keep it. And now it's just been part of his design forever, and I'll never get rid of it. It's so special to me. I've tried to redesign my Sona, but the M is just so special. I literally cannot get rid of it. I cannot get rid of it. It holds a dear near. It's very special to me. It's like a secret amulet. You know, it's like when your grandma gives you like a necklace or something, gives it to your mom, and then your mom gives it to you. That's how it feels like to me, except that I'm the first gen, you know? So it's very special to me. I don't even know what the hell I'm talking about right now, to be honest. The scars on his hands pre exist the M since they were always there from the start. The scars were inspired off of scars I have on my body in real life that look like little sparkle things. These happen to have occurred during a religious psychotic episode I was having, and I decided to put the scars on his hands as a way to imitate Christian iconography, specifically with Jesus's crucifixion. It's very personal, so sorry if I don't go into much detail. Hopefully, this isn't offensive to like any Christian people out there. I'm not trying to make a mockery out of your religion or anything. It's just that it's something that has affected me deeply, and I just decided to put it in my Sona's design because it's something that's very personal to me and something that shaped me into the person that I am now. I'm okay now. It's been roughly 3 years since then. Now, you may be asking why I added them into my design if they are associated with negative feelings. And to be completely honest, I don't really know. I just think they look cool, so I kept them. As well as I have never really taken anything truly serious in my life. So, if anything, I'm making a mockery out of myself, which I think is really funny. If you even want to get meta with it, you could say that an artist is like the god of like their own worlds and their own creations, and it could be like something super meta related to that. But I'm far too dumb and far too lazy to do all of that explaining, so just take it as my guy being a guy. Some things that have changed have been his clothing, hair slash physical attributes, and his color palette. His clothing has always been inspired by stuff that I wear in real life. His original clothing was relatively the same as the clothing he wears now. It just fits him better. He then moved to a turtleneck after I got really sad for a while. I tried to make his clothing have more color, but I really missed not having to worry about his clothes and remembering all the intricate details about it. So I decided to go back to the easy route and give him his original clothing, but just added a little more red as his accent color. I also made his clothes baggier, as this is way closer to the way I dress in real life due to cholo culture or whatever. His wrist shackles are the most recent addition to his design, and they were inspired off of the OC I will talk about later. I just wanted to give my Sona a more defined silhouette that was fun to draw, so I made the clothing choices, specifically the shackles, based on that, honestly. He used to have cat ears, kinda. They weren't cat ears, they were supposed to be like hair horns, mostly inspired off of horned owls because they're my favorite birds. After a while of having this feature, Fundamental Paper Education came out, and the creator stated that Miss Circle was not a cat, but the tufts in her hair were horns. I didn't want comparisons to be made, so I eventually ended up changing this to make him have more owl like characteristics. This sorta ruined his simplicity for me, so I decided to get rid of those too and just make him a regular human. His hair has also been getting curlier as the years go by, and that's just because I'm getting more comfortable drawing my curlier hair. His facial hair has also grown, but that's just because I'm aging as well. Maybe in another 2 years, my Sona will have a godly beard, who knows. His color palette used to be really dark compared to his color palette now, but it just had to do with, like I said, me being sad at the time. This also affected most of my artwork too, because most of my artwork got darker during that time. Eventually, the colors I was using started to bore me, so I changed it up and I wanted to make them more lively, and so I did. Honestly, this has been the happiest I've ever been with one of my personas designs, so I'm happy that, he looks cool and shit, type shit. People have been asking me how I choose my colors, and to be completely honest with you all, I don't choose my colors. I color pick other people's artwork and add colors I like into my main color palette. It is way easier and more effective than learning color theory. Not saying you shouldn't learn color theory since it is very important in any artist's skill set. It will also be more useful in the long run than just color picking. I just don't want to learn it. I low-key just want to play and have fun and draw. That's all I want to do. Rigor Mortis, or just Mortis, is my Subsona. A Subsona is a secondary persona. It is similar to personas in a way that they represent the artist. However, they are not the main representative of the creator and often only represent an aspect of a creator instead of them as a whole. They are kind of an alter ego for an already existing alter ego. Mortis was made on August 11th of this year. I came up with her concept a few days prior. I don't really remember the exact dates. Mortis is a magical girl archetype. I like the idea of an object slash item that gives someone powers, except that I did the reverse this time. Mortis is actually not a girl, nor are they even human, but they are constantly in their quote unquote magical girl form, which also happens to be her weakest form. The object that keeps her in this form is her crucifix necklace. She uses this form to lure in people so she's able to eat them. Without it, she turns into an owl monster type of thing. I'll probably change its design in the future. Probably. Mortis is supposed to be incredibly intimidating in lore, but as I previously stated, I don't take myself too seriously, so they are mostly a joke character. Since they are an ancient being that is not used to being around humans, they come off as incredibly awkward and skittish around normal people, but people just think they're weird and quirky. Since Mortis is unable to actually kill and eat anyone, they are constantly hungry. In response to this, Mortis drinks their own blood to quench their hunger, resulting in the scars seen throughout their human body. Don't worry, this doesn't hurt them. They also didn't know that people view this as incredibly worrying and concerning and harmful to oneself, so they eventually stopped doing this to not catch too much attention. Now, you may be wondering why Mortis just doesn't take off the crucifix if it's such a big debuff to them. The reason for this is because Mortis slowly learns how to interact with people and about the different things people do that they consider silly. Such things being like birthdays and money. They eventually find humans so endearing, they start to feel bad about the idea of having to eat them, so they kind of just start to coexist with people despite their increasing hunger. Will Mortis eventually snap? I don't know. I haven't gone that far yet. Do I have their entire world's lore planned out? No. Will I have it planned out anytime soon? No. Mortis' character is honestly a projection of my own experience dealing with the world. I am autistic and I struggle a whole lot when it comes to interacting with others. I often have a hard time understanding social cues, and I find some things people do to be incredibly silly. I often come off as incredibly weird and awkward, sometimes even as antagonistic towards people who do not know me personally. Everyone adds personal experiences into their characters, whether subconsciously or not, and I feel like it makes it much easier to write characters when this is something you do intentionally. Personal experiences can be incredibly helpful when writing original characters, and you don't really need it to be dramatic life events for it to work. Even small everyday experiences can deepen a character. When you felt something like grief, jealousy, excitement, awkwardness, you understand how it sits in the body and mind. Your character's emotions become more believable because you're not guessing, you've translated what you're already experienced. The reason why Mortis looks like my Sona if he was hit with the R63 gun, in all honesty, is because I missed the owl motifs. I knew that Mortis would not be someone I would have to draw often unless I actually wanted to, so I included aspects into their design that I liked but had to remove for simplicity's sake in my original Persona's design. I really don't have too much to say about Mortis's design, and that just has a lot to do with the fact that I kind of already explained most of my design choices with my Persona's design. Lyric was created on August 8th of this year. He is my first completely original character that wasn't meant to be a Sona. Lyric does hold a special place in my heart. I cannot believe it took me 18 years of my life to finally come up with an original character. I've been missing out so much. I haven't had the time to draw him often, but he is incredibly important to me. Lyric's original name is Isair Calculo. He grew up in a loving household having two parents. His mother was a physicist while his father's was a mathematics teacher. His parents were hard on Isair, telling him that he needed to go to college and get a good job like that. However, when saying this, his parents actually meant getting a job he loved just like them. Isair didn't realize this, and due to this miscommunication, Isair decided to also become a physicist like his mother, despite his dream job being making music like a SoundCloud rapper. He knew he wasn't very good at STEM. Somehow he managed to scrape by in his academics. Most of his success during college was just pure luck. He managed to graduate and get a job at a major scientific organization. He absolutely despised his job despite how well it paid him. Eventually, he was able to leave work for a while to go on vacation. Isaid, being extremely impatient, decided he did not want to wait at an airport, and before he went on vacation, decided to work on a time device that allowed him to slow down time. He really just didn't want to waste a second of his vacation. Since he sucks at his job but is also extremely lucky, He accidentally made a watch that allows him to travel through dimensions. These dimensions being Roblox games. I know that sounds crazy, I really do, but Roblox has been responsible for a lot of my hyperfixations, and playing it just makes me really happy. Also, might I add, using games or media that have pre-existing assets one can use to make characters is so goated. It is genuinely an extremely useful tool for artists and non-artists alike. Games like Roblox, Pickaroo, and Gacha are some of the few that I can name from the top of my head, and I really do recommend using them when having trouble thinking about new ideas for characters. Anyways, after him making his newfound creation, he stopped aging and never returned back to his job. He also changed his name to Lyric because he didn't really want people knowing his first name. Now he sort of just plays and has fun for all of eternity. He never gets bored as he can just move from place to place. He always just joins random games, does his thing, and leaves. He is sort of an urban legend, kind of like an SCP to NPCs in Roblox game. He really is the definition of doing anything but getting a job. He sort of reminds me of someone, but I'm not quite sure who. I do realize that this is a super idealistic story. Nonetheless, I like having an escape from life since it's so hard. I feel like most stories being doom or pilled in gloom can be good, but it is also important to look at stories that don't take themselves too seriously. Talking about his design now, I do realize that having a musician with blue hair and pronouns is super unique and has definitely not been done before at all. Jokes aside, I did try to see if there were other color schemes that would fit him better, but I just ended up getting lazy, and I also didn't want to deviate from his original design too much. His clothing style was very much inspired from Jet Set Radio. I haven't played it or consumed much media about it, but I can say that the art is so cool and I wanted to take it for myself. Obviously, it's oversimplified because I did not want to draw a lad over and over again. I feel like I would genuinely go insane. As for his wrist tech thing, I'm not sure what I'll call it yet. I don't like to focus on details, to be honest. It was inspired from two sources. One of them being Ben 10 and the other being Pit from Kid Icarus Uprising. I really like the silhouette Pit's wrist guards had, and I wanted to implement them into Lyric's design. His headgear might look inspired by Beat from Jet Set Radio, but it was actually inspired from Obito from Naruto. I just think he has a really cool design with the glasses and the headphones and everything. I also gave Lyrics a lazy eye. It doesn't matter which eye I drawed, and he just has a lazy eye. And I took this from the artist called Coasty Reef, which is an amazing artist. I do love their designs. Amazing artist. I think their persona Coasty has a lazy eye. And when I said, I was like, ooh, like that's cool. So I just decided to take it for myself as well. Like I said, I really do love Lyric. I want to draw him more, but I also want to gatekeep him because he's so special to me. I don't know, maybe I can actually start posting him more in the future if I ever become comfortable enough. This video was an entire yapping session. I didn't really script this video, so I'm not really sure what I'm gonna call this. It felt like I just kept rambling and maybe overshared a bit, but to be honest, I don't particularly care. Sometimes I forget that real people watch these videos. My friend who's across the country from me stated that a random college student who I don't know, their friend, was watching my stuff, and I realized that people actually watch what I say. That's so surreal to me still. Hopefully this is helpful to someone. Don't know how much, but yeah, I don't know how to do outros yet, so I'm just bye.